Nama Shreshtam Manumapi Sachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Urupurim Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhi Ka Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Jayam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, Chapter 2, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kaviraj Goswami is giving various explanations, arguments in favor and support of the supremacy of Krishna. Jai Srila Gurudev, including specifically the ontological supremacy of Krishna over Narayan. And this is where we left off, which was the day before yesterday. Talking about the subject and the predicate. Yes, all right. So we will begin today from text 85. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Narayanam Siye Swayam Bhagavan Tenha Sri Krishna Aiche Karita Vyakyan. Thus he would have said, Narayan, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Sri Krishna. So this is the predicate to this, the subject to predicate relationship. He says that Krishna is the subject. He's referring to a particular verse. Krishna is the subject, and the predicate describes him as the original personality of Godhead. Swayam Bhagavat Pichi Vidheya Samvada. Brahma Pramada Vipralipsa Karana Patava Arasha Vigya Vakye Nahi Dosha Esaba. Mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. These are the four famous defects of the knowledge gathering process, or the ascending, what is known as the ascending knowledge gathering process, as opposed to revelation. Two processes, ascending and descending. Empirical discovery via the senses, or divine revelation via Shabda, sound. Divine revelation is generally by the medium of sound. Shabda Brahma, divine revelation, divine sound. It's considered reliable. It's the concept of praman, proofs. There's various proofs, various ways of proving the reality of something, gathering knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anuman, shabda, etc. And then we have others such as by inference and by example, by others, one or two others. But the only reliable way the only flawless way of knowledge gathering is considered to be by revelation, shabda. Because prayaksha, direct experience, well, you may have sensual experience of something, but the senses are subject to these four faults: mistakes, illusion, cheating, and defective, faulty instrumentation. Mistakes meaning you can mistake one thing for another. The classic example in this regard is mistaking a snake for a rope. You see a rope and you think it's a snake. In other words, to conflate one thing, something, for what it's not. To think something to be another item which it isn't. And what is the next one? Mistakes, illusion. Illusion can simply be inattentiveness, or it can be some illusion caused by an extraneous cause, such as the taking of a narcotic that can create illusion, illusory perception, or hypnosis, or prejudice. If a person's prejudiced, they will not see something as it is. There's a concept known as cognitive dissonance, where because if someone so firmly believes something, then they see it in the environment. It's not there, but they so firmly believe it to be true that they see it everywhere. So they see something that is not actually there. Cognitive dissonance. So this is the illusion, one expression of illusion. Tendency to make mistakes, tendency to be an illusion, tendency to cheat, and that by extension to be cheated. Cheat and be cheated. When you cheat, someone is going to be cheated. And when they cheat, you may be cheated. So the tendency to intentionally misrepresent reality, to mislead and be misled, and defective senses. All the senses have intrinsic limitation. The eyes can only see so much of the light, only see a small spectrum of visible light, a small sliver of visible light. And the ears can only hear a certain hertz range, certain range of sound frequency, and only certain molecules can fit into the olfactory receptors of the nose. So there's all sorts of smells and sounds and sights, even in this material world, that the human senses cannot perceive. So it's defective, limited sensual perception. Those four ways, the knowledge-gathering process via the senses is fundamentally flawed. Virudata kahatumi kahite kararosha tomara arte avimrishta vidheyam sadosha. You say something contradictory and become angry when this is pointed out. Your explanation has the defect of a misplaced object. This is an unconsidered adjustment. So Kaviraj Goswami is continuing with his rhetorical debate, referring in other places to the Purva Paksha, which means like the previous speaker, person had his time previously. He's conducting a hypothetical debate in order to illustrate the point of Krishna as Swayam Bhagavan. Yanra Bhagavata haite anyara Bhagavata swayam Bhagavan sabdera tahete sata. Only the personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated Swayam Bhagavan, or the Supreme, or the Primeval Lord. Deepa haite yaiche bahu dipere jvalana, mula eka deepa taha kariye ganana. When from one candle many others are lit, I consider that one the original. Taiche Saba Avatarere Krishna Se Karana Ara Eka Shloka Suna Kuvyakya Kandana. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. So this verse that Kaviraj Goswami has been referring to for a while now. Haven't quite figured out which one it is. Somewhere earlier in the text. There's one, obviously a Sanskrit verse. Now, the two that are given here that I can see just here, is Vedanti Tat, Tattvavidas, famous one. Tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabjati. And then he's also quoted Ete chamsa kalapumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Ridayanti Yuge Yuge. And Etad Ishanam Isasya Prakriti Sto Pitad Gunai Nayujyate Sadatma Ster Yata Buddhis Tad Ashraya. But that doesn't fit. See, this whole rhetorical argument that Kaviraj Goswami has constructed over the last few verses is based on one verse that he's referring to. But to me, right now, it's not exactly clear which verse that is. Someone may be watching going, "Hey, silly," and shouting out the verse, but I can't see which one it is right now. It's not that. Okay, perhaps it is Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsha. Because
it's referring to construction of the sentences, the way it's constructed, that the saint could not deliberately make such a mistake, like he first stated. In Russian language it's a different term. But how do you say what comes first and what comes second?
Well, they're describing it as predicate and subject.
Yes, yeah.
So the predicate comes first.
Yeah.
Subject.
Could not deliberately commit such a mistake, and then he points out that what you're referring to.
Well, I'm trying to find the sloka that he's referring to. The only one that seems to fit is Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsha, which has been translated as all these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. How it relates exactly to predicate and subject, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, it is this verse, I believe. So, right, so ete chamsa kala pumsha, that is the subject. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam is the predicate. So, he's saying that the subject is stated first. And then he quotes this rhetorical rule given in Anuvadan Anuktvatu Navedhayam Udirayet Na Hyalabdas Padam Kinchit Kutrachit Pratishtati. One should not state a predicate before its subject, for it cannot thus stand without proper support. So using this rule, if this rule is applied to the interpretation of the sloka, ete chamsa kala pumsha, then we see that it is saying that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, and ete chamsa kala pumsha, all of these others, they are the subject. They are the Narayan et al. Is the expansions, plenary portions, amsa, part of Krishna. So as the subject, it is stated first, but they're based upon something else, the predicate, which is stated second, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Okay. So that is the verse being referred to, that famous verse.
How do you call predicate in an easy language?
Predicate.
In an easy language, so the child can understand.
Well, you could say something that comes first, or something that the other thing is based upon, or something that produces something else. There are ways of describing it. A predicate, pre always means before or first. So predicate is something that comes first and upon which something else is formed.
Like a term and explanation. You can't do the explanation until you present the term of what's the grounds. Term? Definition.
Yeah. It has various uses. I know it's used in language. Like, for instance, what does a predicate do to a noun? What does the predicate do to a noun? A noun is a naming word, right? So what does the predicate do to a noun? Well, it gives it context. It gives it some kind of context. Shapes it, specifies it. Anyway, Kaviraj Goswami felt the need to dive a little deeper into that sloka in order to establish this point regarding Krishna vis-a-vis Narayan and who is ontologically superior. And obviously, at least in Kaviraj Goswami's time, this verse was a matter of debate. Ete chamsa kala pumsha. Or at least the topic was a matter of debate, as we see elsewhere in chapter 9 of Madhya Lila. We have the pastime of Mahaprabhu at the house of Vyankatabhata, where this exact same philosophical topic is discussed, and Mahaprabhu gives additional arguments that arguments in addition to what is given here. Yeah, we're on the right verse, as we will see coming up here. Yaiche kahe e vipra. Oh, hang on. Yes, we are lost away. Yeah, it is. It should have been easy to find that out, actually, because I'm looking back now and I see a verse. Ete shabde avatarera age anuvada purushera amsapache vidheya samvada. First, the word ete, meaning these, establishes the subject, the incarnations, then plenary portions of the Purush avatars follows as the predicate. I thought the predicate was Swayam Bhagavan. Because this verse says, therefore the word Krishna appears as the subject, followed by the predicate, describing him as the original personality of Godhead.
Krishna's predicate, Swayam Bhagavan explanation.
Therefore the first word Krishna appears as the subject, followed by the predicate, describing him as the original personality of Godhead. Text 90. Taiche Saba Avatarere Krishna Se Karana Ada Eka Shloka Suna Kuvyakya Kandana. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. Atrasago Vishargascha Stanam Poshanam Utayaha Manvantare Shanukata Nirodho Muktirashrayaha Dasamasya Vishudyartam Navanam Ihalakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmanaha Shrutena Tena Chandrasa. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. The creation of the ingredients of the cosmos, the creation of Brahma, the maintenance of creation, special favor given to the faithful, impetuses for activity, prescribed duties for law-abiding men, a description of the incarnations of the Lord, the winding up of the creation, liberation from gross, subtle material existence, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Mahajans have described these 9 directly or indirectly through prayers or direct explanations. So these are the 10 subject matters of the cantos of the Bhagavatam. What is the traditional term for canto? Kanda. I'll read the purport here. It should be an interesting purport. These verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10, 1-2, list the 10 subject matters dealt with in the text of the Bhagavatam. Of these, the 10th is the substance, and the other 9 are categories derived from the substance. These 10 subjects are listed as follows. 1. Sarga, the first creation by Vishnu, the bringing forth of the 5 gross material elements, the 5 objects of sense perception, the 10 senses, the mind, intelligence, false ego, and the total material energy or universal form. In Sankhya philosophy, there is 22 ingredients. in the Maya Shakti. This is listing a little more. 5 gross material elements, 5 objects of sense perception, 10 senses, 20, mind, intelligence, and ego. That's 23. And then the aggregate of all of that, the total material energy. Sarga. Number 2, Visarga, the secondary creation, or the work of Brahma in producing the moving and unmoving bodies in the universe. So the basic materials of creation are not produced by Brahma, produced by Vishnu. But then they are taken by Brahma and fashioned into the various unlimited possibilities, the unlimited diversities that we see in this world. Sthana, the maintenance of the universe by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Vishnu's function is more important than his glory, and his glory is greater than Brahma's and Lord Shiva's. For although Brahma is the creator and Lord Shiva the destroyer, Vishnu is the maintainer. It is said that it's easier to create and destroy than it is to maintain. Creation is Rajagun, destruction is Tamagun, and maintenance is Sattvagun. So the cultivation of Sattvagun is more difficult than Rajagun. And we see this quite often, very practically in the world. It's very easy to start something, but to be consistent and maintain it is a little more difficult. It's very easy for something to end. Sometimes all you need to do is remove yourself from it, and that thing ends. So creation and destruction are easier than preservation, consistency, Sattvagun. Pashana, special care and protection for devotees by the Lord, as a king maintains his kingdom and subjects, but nevertheless gives special attention to the members of his family. So the personality of Godhead gives special care to his devotees, who are the souls completely surrendered to him. Uti, the urge for creation or initiative power that is the cause of all inventions, according to the necessities of time, space, and objects. Six, Manvantara, the regulative principles for living beings who desire to achieve perfection in human life. The rules of Manu, as described in the Manu Samhita, guide the way to such perfection. 7. Ishanukata. Scriptural information regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his incarnations on earth, and the activities of his devotees. Scriptures dealing with these subjects are essential for progressive human life. 8. Nirodha, the winding up of all energies employed in creation. Such potencies are emanations from the Personality of Godhead, who eternally lies in the Karana ocean. The cosmic creations manifested with his breath are again dissolved in due course. Mukti, number 9. Liberation of the conditioned souls encaged by the gross and subtle coverings of the body and mind, when freed from all material affection. The soul, giving up the gross and subtle material bodies, can attain the spiritual sky in his original spiritual body and engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord in Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka. When the soul is situated in his original constitutional position of existence, he is said to be liberated. It is possible to engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord and become Jivan Mukta, liberated soul, even while living in a material body. 10. Ashraya, the transcendence, the Samam Bonum, from whom everything emanates and upon whom everything rests, and in whom everything merges after annihilation. He is the source and support of all. The Ashraya is also called the Supreme Brahman, as in the Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, Janmad Yasya Yataha. Srimad Bhagavatam especially describes the Supreme Brahman as the Ashraya. Sri Krishna is this Ashraya, and therefore the greatest necessity of life is to study the science of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam accepts Sri Krishna as the shelter of all manifestations because Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate source of everything, the supreme goal of life. Two different principles are to be considered herein, namely Ashraya, the object providing shelter, and Ashrita, the dependence requiring shelter. The Ashrita exist under the original principle, the Ashraya. The first 9 categories described in the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, from creation to liberation, include the Purusha avatars, the incarnations, the marginal energy, living entities, and the external energy or material world are all Ashrita. The prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, however, aim for the Ashraya Tattva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The great souls, expert in describing Srimad Bhagavatam, have very diligently delineated the other 9 categories, sometimes by direct narrations, sometimes by indirect narrations such as stories. The real purpose of doing this is to know perfectly the absolute transcendence, Sri Krishna. For the entire creation, both material and spiritual, rests on the body of Sri Krishna. So we'll finish there for today. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We'll read from Devotional Treasure Chest by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So, Param Gurudev has related a brief anecdote from Mahaprabhu's discussion with Raghupati Upadhyay, which took place at the home of Vallabha Bhattacharya on sometime during Mahaprabhu's visit to Prayag for the Magha Purnim festivities. Magha Purnim, bathing, traditional bathing. Very old festival, ancient Vedic festival called Magha Purnim, where the bathing is done at the confluence of the Triveni at Prayag, confluence of the three rivers. So Mahaprabhu meets, his first meeting with Vallabha Bhatta is there, and he meets Vallabha's friend, Raghupati Upadhyay, who is a great devotee. He is actually one of the prominent disciples of Madhavendra Puri, Mahaprabhu's grandfather guru, Mahaprabhu's Param Guru. And as we see throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu has great affinity for anyone that has received the mercy of Madhavendra Puri. Anyone that has aligned with the mood, the teachings, and thus received the grace of Madhavendra Puri. Mahaprabhu is greatly appreciative of such persons. We see instances of that. Of course, we have Advaita Acharya, we have Nityananda Prabhu, Paramananda Puri, Raghupati Upadhyay, the Sanadiya Brahmana in Mathura, although I don't think he was a direct disciple of Madhavendra Puri, nonetheless he received the mercy of Madhavendra Puri. Param Gurudev says, so Param Gurudev relates the anecdote where Mahaprabhu is questioning Raghupati Upadhyay. He says, what is the highest form of the Lord? And Raghupati Upadhyay answers Shyamasundar. He says, what is the highest place of worship? He says, Mathura Mandal. He says, what is the highest rasa? He says, Madhura rasa. What is the best age? Youth, Kaishar. Various age categories: Bala, Poganda, Kaishar, Yovana. Bala is like from 0 to 5. Poganda, maybe 5 to 10. Kaishar, 10 to 15. Yovana, 15 to 20. Like that. Good morning, Prabhu. Dandavad. So, Krishna is seen as... Actually, Krishna is worshipped in all the forms. Bala Krishna. Talking of Vallabha Bhattacharya, he worships Bala Krishna. Kaishar. So, Krishna is worshipped, and Kaishar is considered the best age, as expressed by Raghupati Upadhyay. But generally, Krishna is also referred to as Nava Yovana, which means eternally youthful. But that's more a general categorization. That's more a general statement, not saying that Krishna is eternally in that bracket that is officially the Yovana age bracket, whatever it is, 16 to 20, because it says here Kaishar, which is the one before. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. Eternally young. Param Gurudev says, we want to worship Kishore Krishna. We are not going to worship old Krishna. There is Mathura and there is Dwarka, but we are fond of worshipping Krishna in Vrindavan, where he has a new youthful life. His companions are also new youths. The highest point is beauty. The idea of eternity is like that. Navayovana, new youthful, progressing. Not full-blown, but blossoming. We should not be afraid of our youth. We should adore it. Not that youth will be engaged in pleasure-seeking, but rather in supplying pleasure to the Lord. Utilization, not renunciation, is our end. Utilization is the highest good. We want to have our energy in its fullest command. All are youthful in Vrindavan, but well-planned, managed, well-aimed, and well-idealized. Why should we worship anything that is fading or dying? We are worshippers of the full energy to the extreme, and it is absolute good. Our Guru Maharaj said that there is a proverb, when there is fire in the shed, the cows or bulls come out of fear, because of fear of the fire, seeing the red color there. And when the cows see the red color of the sky, they again become afraid, thinking that there is fire and will come to attack them and burn them. In the same way, the Mayavadis are suffering from that disease because they are afraid of energy and opulence. They take to renunciation. Wherever there is opulence, youth, or beauty, they are afraid because they are worshippers of the negative side. If they go to enjoy, the reaction will come to get them. However, Vaishnavas know how to utilize everything for the service of the Lord, so they are not afraid of anything good. All good, attractive, beautiful things, everything they will utilize for the service of the Lord. If our association with the environment is sadhusanga, the real beauty and love and truth is sadhusanga with real beauty and love and truth, then everything will come to help us in our search for Krishna, reality, the beautiful. It's the end of that chapter. Tomorrow we start a chapter called Exploitation, Renunciation, Dedication. 3 famous, distinct themes famously outlined by Param Gurudev. Jai Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Dhadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunatha. Das Raghunatha. Echai Koshai Kosh Charana Bandhan. Jaha Hoite Vignana Sabista Pura. Echai Koshai Anmuni Tanradas. Koshai Anmuni Tanradas. Sansavara Pararenu Mora Panchadras. Mandira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame Mora Eri Abhilas. Echai Koshai Chape Brache Koilobas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Vacha Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Parima Jayama. Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Padma Koriya. Hari Naam Sankirtan Kohe Narottam Das. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhar Ji Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnav Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol.